Guys, get this. My evil stepsister, she's just trying to get with the guy I have a crush with. Not because she likes him, but because everything I have she tries to take from me. Well, this is one thing I will not let slide.
Hey everyone, I'm 30, female, and I've been going through some drama with my sister Veronica. I don't know where else to vent, so I've come to the internet looking for some support. There's a lot of background information to share with you all, so this is going to be a long post. Veronica and I have always had a rough relationship. Childhood was tense from the beginning. Since we were born so close together, there was always a lot of competition between us, and she has always been a bit jealous of me. Not to toot my own horn or sound arrogant, but I was placed in advanced classes for gifted students as a child. While Veronica always did poorly in school, she quickly outgrew me as we were growing up and would often bully me and call me a nerd. My parents would always dismiss this behavior as mere sisterhood squabbling, but the truth is, Veronica never much outgrew the way that she was when we were kids. She's vindictive, jealous, catty, rude, and I've tried to have a relationship with her throughout my adult life because every once in a while we would actually get along. But then she would always do something to ruin it. We were both quite close to our grandfather, who recently passed away. From the moment he died, no sooner than I could even begin grieving, Veronica was curious about the matter of inheritance. It turned out that our grandfather was leaving Veronica his farmland, and I was going to receive his prized vintage car. Frankly, I was not too concerned with the inheritance. I just wanted my grandpa back, and I still do. But I could tell Veronica was upset with this. When we were growing up, Veronica had always taken an interest in Grandpa's vintage car and would spend time with him in the garage when he was working on it. But we both did. So I didn't see why she was so upset. To make matters worse, Veronica is passive-aggressive, so she often does not say what she actually means. She makes these little underhanded remarks instead of actually confronting the issue. So while I could tell she was upset, I could not quite figure out the extent of it. And while I appreciate that my grandfather left me his prized vintage vehicle, I can already tell it's going to require a lot of work and maintenance just to get it up and running again. It's not some super valuable car. It was just a hobby of my grandfather's that was very important to him. I'm glad to have the memento, but now I have this vintage car just sitting on my lawn, and I don't quite know what to do with it. I would have rather been given the farmland. As usual, Veronica doesn't realize she's actually the lucky one in this scenario. That's the typical Veronica. She's the type of person who thinks that the grass is always greener on the other side. Amidst all the grieving and the weird tension between me and Veronica regarding the inheritance from Grandpa, I was having a birthday, and my grandpa would have wanted me to proceed with the birthday party, so I decided to throw one, even though I truly didn't feel like it. I invited all my friends, including coworkers, and I made sure to invite my work crush, Ernie. Ernie is a sweet guy. He's super helpful at work, and he's super cute. So I was hoping I could get lucky if I could get him to show up to my birthday party. We had been hitting it off pretty good at work, and I was certain if the conditions were right, he might even ask me out. I did not feel like inviting Veronica, but it seemed like the nice thing to do since I figured she was probably grieving and feeling depressed over the loss of our grandfather as well, so I invited Veronica and just hoped for the best. While she and I had always had our differences, I did not think that she would try to pull any stunts at a public gathering, so I went ahead and invited her to the party anyways. The party started off normal enough, and I started off by saying a few words about my grandfather, and then I thanked everybody for coming. I hired a DJ to play my favorite dubstep songs during the party, so after I gave a short speech, I brought out the DJ, and everybody started dancing and drinking and having a good time. I'll admit, cutting loose a bit was exactly what I needed. I momentarily forgot about Grandpa, or at least was able to focus on something different. It was nice being around all these people who were celebrating my birthday. I had been chatting it off on and on with Ernie since he showed up to the party. But I was a bit busy being the host of it, so I had to talk to everybody a little bit and not seem rude. In the corner of my eye, in my peripheral vision, I could see Veronica just approaching Ernie over and over while I was being tied up talking to the other guest. I tried to overlook it and put it out of my mind, but I'll admit, I was suspicious about her behavior from the beginning. I had made the mistake of telling Veronica that I had a crush on Ernie just a couple weeks before the party, and I was hoping she would not use this fact against me. At some point, while I was talking to the other guest, I could see that Veronica kept handing more alcoholic beverages to Ernie. Ernie was already drinking, but he was nonchalantly downing the drinks Veronica was handing to him. I could see the party was getting a bit out of control amidst all the distractions. I find myself having a bit too much to drink as well, and I noticed at some point while the bass beats were dropping from the DJ booth, I looked around the room and did not see either Veronica nor Ernie anywhere. I thought it must have been just a coincidence and maybe one of them went outside to smoke a cigarette. Or maybe one of them was in the bathroom. Frankly, I was hoping Veronica had simply left. I did not want her to spend any more time with Ernie. Well, I unfortunately found out the truth. At some point in the evening, I excused myself to go to the restroom, and sure enough, I found Veronica and Ernie messing around in my bathroom. And at my own birthday party nonetheless, I was furious and screamed at both of them to get out. I tried my best to keep cool, but I was livid. I was drunk. I got into a shouting match with Veronica, who was also drunk and nearly belligerent and unintelligible. Suddenly, I heard the DJ record scratch and could see that both he and all the people I'd invited to the party were standing totally still, watching me and Veronica in confusion. I was humiliated. I'd hoped to so much just to have a normal birthday party to help me get my mind off my grandfather passing, and I was hoping to get maybe asked out by my work crush in the process, and of course, Veronica just had to ruin it. And now things are going to be awkward at work with Ernie, especially now that I know he's been with my sister. I'm disgusted. They just met. Of course, I should have known better. Veronica would often target the boys I liked in high school, even if she wasn't interested. She could never let me have something that she doesn't have. I remember when we were kids, she would always try to get my clothes dirty if I got new clothes, and she would try and break my new toys if she thought that they were the nice ones that she got. I'm a fool for thinking that she would not try to sleep with my crush just to spite me. While me and Veronica were arguing at the party, I remember her saying something about the farmland and the vintage car, so I knew this act of betrayal had something to do with the issue of inheritance. Of course, we were both drinking, so many details are fuzzy, and after the humiliation of getting into an argument with Veronica at my birthday party, after discovering her sleeping with my crush, I decided to go to bed. I didn't even ask everyone to leave. Everybody seemed to get the hint. It was pathetic. Such a pathetic way to end my 30th birthday party. And I regretted even trying to throw a party at all. Well, anyways, guys, I just came here to vent, really. I'm not sure what to do or how to proceed, but dealing with the humiliation of having my party ruined by my sister on top of the passing of grandfather has just been far too much to deal with. And spending weeks flirting with Ernie, only to have him turn around and fool with my sister behind my back at my own birthday party? I hate to sound petty, but it hurts. It really does. Veronica has called me a couple times since the party, but I have just ignored the calls, and frankly, Veronica's the last person I feel like talking to. She left one voicemail apologizing, and then left another voicemail a few hours later, cussing me out and being rude to me. That's how she is. She'll give you a fake apology, and if you don't immediately accept it, you're back on her naughty list. Zero contact from Ernie either. Not even an apology. I'm too embarrassed to reach out to him. It would look pathetic on my part. Clearly, he could not be too interested in me if Veronica was able to seduce him so easily. but she was also feeding him alcohol. She was practically pouring it down the man's throat. So, I still blame her for the most of it, but I'm upset at both of them. My life just isn't going the way I wish it would, and I needed to vent. I would appreciate any advice you can spare, insight, supportive comments, any of you would like to leave for me. Thank you for reading this far. What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. So I have a few updates we're going to look at, and this story is about to take a turn. If you guys are new to the channel, go ahead, hit that subscribe button for daily videos, and you also help support the channel. Thank you. Here's your update. Hello, everybody. OP here. First, I'd like to thank everyone who's left supportive and kind comments thus far. I feel a little less crazy knowing that so many people see my side of things, and I'm glad most of you thought it was rude of Veronica to do what she did at my birthday party. I wish I could say everything is blown over and gone back to normal, but things are just getting crazier. So instead of going back to work on Monday, I decided to use a vacation day. I had not used all the allotted days my company gives me for family deaths, so I decided to use one. I felt like I truly just needed to skip work and recharge my batteries a bit. You know, get some relaxation in and clear my head a bit. I also definitely did not want to see Ernie. I knew it was going to be awkward in the office seeing him and knowing that he's been with my sister. At some point, I got hungry and decided to go out for lunch. Applebee's was doing a special deal on margaritas, so I thought having a few margaritas and some good food would help me feel better and get my mind off things. Much to my dismay, upon arrival at my favorite Applebee's, I saw Veronica and Ernie sitting at the table, drinking margaritas and laughing. I wanted to enjoy my experience and ignore them, but it was impossible. I just left because I didn't want another reminder of those two. Later that evening, I got home and had a voicemail from Veronica. I could tell from her slurred speech and sloppy attitude that she was drunk as a skunk. She was bragging on the phone about how she and Ernie were now dating, and she actually had the nerve to thank me for introducing them to each other. Well, that's rich, because I don't remember introducing them at all. I seem to remember Veronica basically forcing herself on Ernie like, a loose person, but what do I know? I can't believe this. Things just keep getting worse. I did not bother responding to Veronica's voicemails. I mean, what did she expect me to say? Congratulations on getting to date the guy I've had a crush on after you slept with him at my birthday party the same week our grandfather died. Sure, get real. For now, I'm going to keep ignoring her, and I have to go back to work soon, and I'm dreading seeing Ernie, but I needed to get on with my life. Update number 2. Hello, everybody. OP here, back for another update. I went back to work after taking some time off to reflect and recharge my batteries. Seeing Ernie and Veronica together at that Applebee's was heartbreaking, and then finding out the two of them were dating stunk even worse, and I was super nervous going back to work because I truly did not want to see or hear from Ernie. Luckily, he was not there at work. He wasn't there the next day either. I finally asked a coworker about him and was informed that Ernie had quit his job and said he was moving in with his new girlfriend that he was oh so in love with. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was happy that he left the job though, but they had just started dating and he's already moving in? Veronica must be working some serious manipulation tactics on him, because I think it's absolutely ridiculous to move in and claim to be in love this early on. Veronica began calling me on the phone again, and I could tell she was drunk. This time when she called, she got me after work, and I'd had a few drinks myself. We got into a heated argument, and started screaming at each other, calling each other names, and finally Veronica broke down in tears. She admitted that the reason she had been acting out lately was because she was jealous over the fact that our grandpa gave me a vintage car. She was talking about how important the car was to her and all this stuff. I was suspicious of her motives because I'd never known her to have much of an interest in cars. I got the feeling she was mainly interested in the vintage car because she was mistakenly under the assumption that it was worth some sort of a cash cow. Meanwhile, she's sitting on a ripe farmland and doesn't even appreciate the value. Update number 3. Hello, people. OP here. Back again for another update, and this might be the last. After thinking long and hard about the issue and reading through all the comments and advice I've received, I decided to take the vintage car to a trustworthy mechanic, friend of mine, who could inspect the car and figure out everything that was wrong with it. After looking at the various issues, the cost of repair and restoration, of the vintage car, it would cost almost as much as buying one outright. I know this was my grandpa's passion project, and he loved cars and tinkering with them, but I realized what I truly had on my hands was a lemon. I thought about what Veronica had said on the phone during our argument, and if this car was truly that important to her, I realized it would benefit it to just give it to her. I called Veronica and remained calm. I did not want to have another repeat of our last couple of arguments, since they got quite out of hand. I stayed cool on the phone, and I proposed I would give Veronica our grandpa's prized vintage vehicle on one condition and one condition only. She was to trade me the farmland for the car. I explained that we would effectively be trading inheritances, and nobody would mind or care as long as we were both happy. Veronica immediately jumped at the idea. She acted grateful and appreciative, thanking me even for taking the farm off her hands, but I know deep down she thinks she's got away with something. She'll find out soon enough that the vintage car I've given her is worth the trouble. Yeah. I mean, hey, if it's important to her, I hope she enjoys it, but I have a feeling once the car's sitting there collecting dust and grime in her driveway, she's going to wish that she had not given me that fertile soil of Grandpa's farmland. Of course, I'm hoping Veronica will just forget about all this now that she's finally getting what she wanted. She probably won't even care about the car anymore now that she has it. That's just the type of person that she really is. I think she only wants the vehicle because she thinks that I want it. That's how wacky Veronica can be. Update number 4. OP back again for yet another update, and a lot has happened since my last one, so there's a lot I need to fill you in on. Something unexpected happened, and I think it just keeps getting crazier. So, as you could likely imagine, Veronica and Ernie were not pleased to find out the vintage car was just a money pit our grandpa had sunken that much into. There's no money to be made of it. There's only money to be lost on it, and Veronica called me up whining and complaining, and I told her, sorry, you made the deal, now you're stuck with it. She threatened to sue me and all this other junk, but I knew that she would never go through with it. I have to admit, I chuckled to myself over the situation, and pretty much all but forgot about it until later that evening. It was quite late, and I began to hear some commotion outside. I was staying the night at my grandpa's old house on his old farmland, and I was enjoying the quiet night air. I knew that something nefarious was afoot, because it had been so quiet before this, and then I began to hear some strange noises. I decided to investigate over by the barn. I could not believe my eyes when I went there. They were there, Veronica, Ernie, and torches and gasoline. They were trying to burn down the barn. I started screaming at the both of them, and they both looked startled and took off, running into the dark woods. I could tell it was them because these two dummies did not even bother to wear disguises or anything. They simply walked onto my property. Oh, I suppose she forgot it's mine now, and tried to set fire to my building, so I called the police. The police came out just in time and were able to find Veronica and Ernie hiding in the woods. Apparently, they've gotten lost in the woodland near my farm. Sure enough, Veronica and Ernie were both drunk as skunks. The cops actually laughed at the two of them. One of the cops told me that they were so drunk they would not even have been able to set fire to the barn if they tried. They probably would have set themselves on fire instead. Maybe I should have let it happen. Veronica and Ernie were promptly arrested, and I told the cops that I did intend to go ahead and press some charges. Arson, trespassing against both of them. Now I'm just sitting here typing all this up for you, and as silly as Veronica and Ernie's attempt was, I'm quite shaken by this event. I never thought Veronica would be willing to try anything this drastic, but it's clear her anger and her alcohol problem has gotten the best of her. I'm going to try to get some sleep and get this off my mind for now. I just wanted to let you know what happened. Final update. Hey guys, everybody, it's OP. I'm back for what you'll be known as my final update. I know it's been a while since I've last updated the post, and I had a lot of people asking me for any new developments. So I wanted to wrap things up for you all. You've all been great, and I truly appreciate all the kind words and good advice I've received in the comment section from the great people of the internet. As far as Veronica and Ernie, they were sentenced to some jail. Even an attempt of arson is a very serious matter, and they drove drunk to get to the farm, so that's another charge. Oopsie. Throw in the trespassing charge as well, and the two of them were doing some time. While part of me will always be thinking about Veronica as my sister, I truly believe jail is the best option for her. She clearly isn't going to learn to be a better person without some sort of serious intervention, so while I wish we could have worked things out and actually tried to have a relationship in life, I'm frankly quite glad she's no longer in my life and can't stress me out or bother me anymore. If she had just appreciated how lucky she was to have been given our grandfather's farmland to begin with, none of this would have ever happened. She didn't have to sleep with Ernie and get him involved in her petty revenge scheme, but that's what she did. And now they both have to pay the consequences. That's not part of being an adult, whether we like it or not. As for what I've been up to, since you've all been asking, I've fully moved into my grandpa's old house and have been running a farm on his land. I've been selling fruits, vegetables, chicken, and pork to all the locals, and the business is booming, as they say. It's a shame Veronica and I could not have figured this out together and gone in on some sort of business venture partnership deal. But her vindictive, petty ways landed her behind bars instead. Anyways, I want to thank everybody who read this far. It is much, much, much appreciated.
This Veronica was one of the craziest people we've seen in quite some time. I mean, she was vindictive, she was mean, she was evil, she was toxic, and everything she set out to do was to hurt OP. I think the craziest part has to be when they got drunk, her and Ernie, and tried to burn down the farm after they gave it up. It was ridiculous, and I just want to hear from you guys about what you think of Veronica and Ernie, what a pair they are. Guys, drop your thoughts down below in the comment section. My name's Mr. Reddito, and I narrate stories every single day. If you want to see more stories like Veronica or Ernie or OP of today's story, a little bit of twisted drama, drop a subscribe. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I hope you have an amazing day, and just remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.